Okay, I guess it's about time we did a shop update on where we're at on the F1 rat rod, as well as a couple of updates on the Odri Gasser. So I've been working quite a bit on the F1. I haven't videoed much, again, because it's been tedious, boring stuff, but so I'll just do an overall update. Of course, got the cab off the frame, and the goal here is to finish the firewall and everything underneath that was hard to get to with it being on the chassis. And then once all the patchwork and welding and grinding is done underneath and the firewall, we can paint that and put it back on the frame, and then it won't have to come back off. We can go ahead and do brakes and wiring and get it started and at least have it moving under its own power. So that's kind of where we're at. You can see been doing a lot of work getting our firewall insert welded in and smoothed up, and over here a lot of work around where the master cylinder and booster bolts and where the column comes through. That aluminum piece there is the clutch adjuster. And again, this is not going to be show car or anything like that. We're not worried about grinding every weld smooth and Bondo, and most of this stuff's not going to show much when you get everything mounted. And then what you can't see is behind all of this area is a piece of 1/4-inch plate steel, and it is tied in. You can see lots of welds, like that whole weld right there is hiding a previous cutout in the firewall, but it's also welding the plate steel to the firewall. Same thing here, down here at the column. And what that does, I mean, it basically goes from this area all the way down. It ties into the edge of the firewall recess. But when you do a swinging pedals, you've got to have a lot of strength in the firewall. These trucks originally had the brake and clutch pedal on the frame, which the frame's not going to flex, but you move them up to the firewall and you've got to do a lot of reinforcing and have it where that thing won't flex, or you will have problems. So we've put some serious steel in behind that, and everything bolts in and ties in. It also ties into the dash via the pedal hanger bracket, and that kind of triangulates the whole thing, and it makes it really strong. And then this firewall insert is pretty thick. As I said earlier, that's a Model A pickup firewall flipped around backwards and narrowed a little bit, and that's a stiff. That's got to be at least. It could possibly be 12 gauge. I haven't measured it, but it's at the very least 14 gauge. So they stamped some pretty serious stuff back in the 30s. So anyway, we're doing that. There's lots of stuff underneath. I'm not going to bother to raise it up and get under there. Working on the tunnel. And then around back, we're having to box in pockets where the frame rails come in. And you can see kind of what they're doing, building these boxes where this thing is channeled so far onto the frame that the frame kicks up there. And then you can see we've been doing a lot of work on the tunnel and firewall. Still got some small patches to do. I don't remember if I've showed our gauge insert and a few things that we're working on for the dash. So anyway, that's the cab part. Over here we got the frame. We finished up a bunch of welding on the top where we had put in pieces, and you can't get to them if the body's sitting on top of the frame. So we finished up a lot of welds. We've got headers built and painted. Now don't freak out over the reddish orange paint. I got a deal on some paint at a swap meet. It's VHT header paint, which is very expensive these days, and I bought some cans at a swap meet for a little nothing, and that was just something good to put on the headers because I sandblasted them as I went, so that's just there to protect them. I don't know what color they end up being. I'll be honest with you, if I like this vehicle as much as I think it will, they'll probably come off and get jet hot coated. So the paint's just there to kind of keep them from rusting and looking terrible for the moment. We've run our exhaust. Now you can't really see it. Of course, the cap's not on, but the way this exhaust runs, it is really hidden underneath the rocker panel of the cab. It kind of sits down over the pipes. And so all you really see is the dumps here, which will be blocked off. And then the exhaust is going to eventually run and come up in between the bed and the frame rail. And there's going to be two more small glass pack mufflers. You know, they're completely straight through. So we've got these small ones, and then we'll have a couple more hidden back under the bed, and that hopefully will help tame the noise. And you can see kind of how we did all the cross member and the trailing arm mounts, transmission support. Pretty happy with the way everything came out. Did go ahead and finish building the top of the radiator core support the other day. It's starting to take shape. So anyway, that's where we're at. Maybe after the holidays, hope to get some work done on it during the holidays because things are a little bit slow, and maybe we'll get the cab back on and can start, instead of going 2 steps forward and 1 step backwards, we can just go 2 steps forward. So anyway, quick update on the hot rod. We've been working, trying to get ready for next race season. We, of course, this is the engine we ran at Shadyside, and it's fine. We're not pulling it out immediately or anything. We're actually going to do some testing with it in February when the track's open. But we've taken our 320 Boss motor, which it's down to the bare block right there, waiting to go to the machine shop, and it's going to be freshened up for some experimental stuff next season. And then on the inside, we've changed seats and put in a pair of their 65 Mustang bucket seats, which are very era correct for a 60 style Gasser. And the seats we had before were era correct. That's those sitting back here. They're Ford Econoline van, which is very popular for Gasser, and I liked them okay. They were beginning to need reupholstering, so opportunity came up to get these seats, and we were able to do the upholstery ourselves, and that saved some time and money. So we also changed, since Ben's been driving, he was kind of wanting the seat position a little bit lower and maybe a little more to suit him, because I built the truck for me. So we redid the seat mounts, and with these new thinner seats, got things a little more comfortable. We're going to be redoing the shift arm too. And then we're working on a new dash. And I may have mentioned in a previous video, this truck had when I bought the cab, someone had cut the factory dash out. These dashes are welded in, and they had cut the factory dash out and made a flat, kind of a street rod looking dash, just with gauge cutouts. And you know, it came with the truck and it sort of fit, and so that's what I worked with, and never really liked it. It just always kind of was a near miss. And I got the opportunity to buy a spare truck cab for the other F1, and decided I would cut the dash out of it. And thankfully the people that did this originally had left enough of the dash, you know, just like a little lip of the original dash in. And so I got to thinking, well, I'll take another dash and trim it up, and it should slip right over it and bolt in. And sure enough, it did. It's going to fit great. We were able to trim it around our cage bar, and it's really, I think it's really going to change the look of the truck, make it much more era correct. Still got a lot of the trim pieces to pick up the radio grill, and so some chrome trim and things like that. And so we're going to make it look more like it had an original dash in it that was turned into a race car instead of something that was kind of modern looking. We've also got the steering column out. We've changed the steering column mount, lowered it a little bit, again to help with Ben's driving position, and just kind of incorporating this whole project at one time. And then of course we got a couple more little things to do on the dash, and then it's going to go to powder coat. It'll be powdered white, and just like the other one was, so it should look good. Only going to be 3 gauges and a tack, just bare bones race car stuff. And again, I think it's really going to make the whole truck look a lot more air correct. And you know, sometimes you got to work on that kind of thing if you can't figure out how to go fast. And we've definitely been struggling trying to figure out how to go fast, but we're working on that too. So anyway, that's where we're at, and appreciate everybody watching, and we'll update you soon.